Again, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. So, very interesting piece. Watch it all. There are many pieces to this puzzle. It's a puzzling puzzle. My goodness, Justin Trudeau, you've got to go. People see right through you.
Progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government.
Need Justin Trudeau, right? Like, this guy is so fake and phony, and he's getting called out by women about him being a fake and phony feminist. Throwing Freeland under the bus? She should go there anyways. But, like, my goodness. Justin Trudeau, you're out of touch. Listen to what they're saying about you.
This fake feminist prime minister is determined to decimate Canadians' lives by destroying the economy, and he will throw anyone under the bus to do it, including his token finance female minister. Canadians know he's weak. They know he's lost control of his cabinet and his spending. The question is, will the first ever female finance minister have the courage to stand up to that fake feminist prime minister and stick to her promised $40 billion deficit?
We've seen the fake feminist prime minister do this before, pushing strong women out of cabinet. Yet the prime minister's hypocrisy is on display as he lectures about him being a proud feminist. The Globe and Mail reported on the prime minister's aggressive recruitment of conflict of interest carbon tax carney as tensions increase with the current finance minister. So will the fake feminist prime minister park the hypocrisy and admit his inflationary spending is forcing the finance minister to break her $40 billion deficit promise?
Admits deficits cause inflation. She promised a cap of an already wacko $40 billion, but the Prime Minister bullied to crash her through that so-called guardrail with billions more. He sets her up to take the fall, and Canadians will pay the price. Now, like a long line of women, the Prime Minister kicks her to the curb for his conflict of interest carbon tax crony carney. Is the Prime Minister really going to bully his female finance minister to read carbon tax carney's fiscal update and then blame her for breaking the $40 billion deficit promise?
Has lost control of spending and his cabinet. The finance minister promised to cap the deficit at already reckless $40 billion, but now it turns out the prime minister is shoving her through her own guardrail. The fake feminist prime minister is setting up Canada's first female finance minister to take the hit for his reckless spending so that he can then officially bring in the unelected man who has been pulling the strings. Why is the Prime Minister bullying the Finance Minister into breaking her $40 billion deficit guardrail promise and forcing her to deliver carbon tax carney's fiscal update?
The Prime Minister says women experience him differently, but it's his pattern to elbow them to the side, and it's sad to see a woman spinning for him. He's incompetent, unaccountable, and bullies subordinate women, blames and shames them, then replaces them with his buddies. He's aggressively recruited carbon tax carney, yet calls himself a proud feminist. Canadians can't afford this. Will this complete weak fake stop all the hypocrisy and admit his inflationary spending forces the finance minister to break her $40 billion deficit promise?
Mr. Speaker, on the Conservative side of the House, women stand here because we're skilled and we're allowed to use our voice. Mr. Speaker, Jody Wilson-Raybould is testament to this. That is a fake prime minister, but that is not the point. We're not here to talk about gender. We're here to talk about the economy, and it is destroyed under that fake feminist prime minister. So again, if she is not a token, will she stand up to him and say, no, I will abide by my $40 billion deficit guardrail to help this economy get back on track and save Canadians' lives?
The Prime Minister, who has long self-described as a feminist, starting in July and through anonymous sources, have repeatedly maligned Canada's first female finance minister by undermining her competency. This week, reports have suggested that the finance minister has been at odds with the Prime Minister, who's been bullying her to blow back her already exorbitant $40 billion deficit. And now we've got female cabinet ministers defending the Prime Minister's decision to bring in an unelected man to replace her job. Why?
Tokenism will always be great when there's no tokenism. The hypocrisy of this Prime Minister knows no bounds. He lectures everyone else about progress, saying women's rights and women's progress are under attack. My question for this Prime Minister is, will he park his hypocrisy and stop attacking the rights of women in his own caucus? Is this fake feminist Prime Minister going to really bully Canada's first female finance minister and have her read Carbon Tax Carney's update on Monday?
I have seen women in my party rise to positions of great responsibility because of merit, because of excellence, because of intelligence, and not because of quotas. And I think when you think about how do we ensure to have more women in elected office, I think it can't be seeking diversity through uniformity. Otherwise, we end up with the performative political theater I've witnessed in my time here in Ottawa. If you aren't prepared to speak about the rise, the 74% rise in sexual assaults, the 83% rise in human trafficking, the single mothers watering down their milk so they can feed their kids because they can't get by, the brave women standing in Iran against their oppressors, the sexual violence in acts of terror, the missing and murdered Indigenous women that still don't have justice, then why bother pretending any of it matters?
This is some gay event from Ottawa where everybody gets up to speak and Justin Trudeau gets the floor first. Melissa Lantsman takes it back, but then Jagmeet and Liz May, like, what are you going to do about these losers? Let's take a look and a listen. Gosh, they're out of it.
I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking an extraordinarily special guest, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Madam President, what a privilege to be able to have spent time with you this afternoon once again and to be continually inspired by your incredible leadership and hard work as you fight for women's rights around the world. Glad to be here as well with Minister Soraya Martinez-Ferrada, because showing up matters. And on that, I want to give an opportunity to every single member of my caucus, Liberal MP, there's about 20 of you, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites. And because showing up matters, I also want to give a huge shout out to my fellow party leaders, Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May, who consistently show up for Equal Voice and for everything they do. Thank you. C'est sûr qu'en français, on a une expression, les absents ont toujours tort. Pierre Poilievre, tu as tort de ne pas être ici ce soir. Equal Voice was founded 23 years ago with a straightforward mission: get more women elected across Canada. That's a mission that we share. It's why we funded as a government Daughters of the Vote and the Modernizing Legislatures project. It's why I've touted the adage, add women, change politics, which to us is more than just words. We've taken action to make it a reality, appointing the first female finance minister. Under Stephen Harper, 32% of judges appointed were women, 56% under this government. Under the new Senate appointment process, that chamber is now majority women, as is the Supreme Court. And of course, the first thing I did as Prime Minister was appoint the first gender-balanced cabinet in Canadian history, and under my leadership, that'll always be the case. It's not just in federal politics. Elsewhere across the country, your hard work and advocacy has made important progress as well. This year, British Columbia elected the first ever provincial legislature where a majority of members are women. But of course, as important as representation is, it's also a means to an end, not just an end in itself. Representation matters because when women are properly represented in our politics, better choices are made for women and for the country as a whole. Choices such as Canada-wide childcare after 50 years of trying. The first ever federal gender-based violence strategy and bringing in tougher gun laws that directly protect women. And of course, soon, free prescription contraceptives, because we don't just believe in a woman's right to choose, we act on it. Now, appropriately, today, December 10th, is Human Rights Day. And standing up for human rights means standing up unequivocally for women's rights. Now, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government. Cette célébration de tout ce que À Voix égale a accompli, c'est aussi l'occasion de réaffirmer notre engagement envers la lutte pour l'égalité pour tous et bien surtout pour toutes. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Merci d'être ici ce soir. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Bonsoir, mes amis.
We've got Melissa Lantsman.
I have seen women in my party rise to positions of great responsibility because of merit, because of excellence, because of intelligence, and not because of quotas. And I think when you think about how do we ensure to have more women in elected office, I think it can't be seeking diversity through uniformity. Otherwise, we end up with the performative political theater I've witnessed in my time here in Ottawa. If you aren't prepared to speak about the rise, the 74% rise in sexual assaults, the 83% rise in human trafficking, the single mothers watering down their milk so they can feed their kids because they can't get by, the brave women standing in Iran against their oppressors, the sexual violence in acts of terror, the missing and murdered Indigenous women that still don't have justice, then why bother pretending any of it matters? I think you're going to hear a lot of pretty words over the course of the night, and I challenge you with this. Take those words and contrast them against the actions of the leaders that are saying those words. Hold the people in positions of power responsible. Take those words and use them as a rallying cry, not just for the how many, but for the why. Why you do this as equal voice, why we all do this for our friends we want to see in elected office. That's the way that we had progress. It's the only way that we have had progress. And it can't be about gender balanced cabinets or a humankind dictionary. It can't be about other things that pander and demean. It has to be real. It has to be more than symbols. It has to be actual substance. It has to be real results for real people. And I am happy to fight that fight with you every single day of the week. I want to thank Equal Voice for allowing me the chance to have this podium, and I hope that this spurs a conversation, a serious conversation about this organization and so many of you that do the work across the country to make sure that there is more women in office. Thanks very much.
I don't want a Liberal government. I don't want Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister.
We have absolutely ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau is playing political games, and the only person that's winning is himself.
He has come across very out of touch. He's ignored a lot of the problems people are going through. People are absolutely fed up with and done with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals.
You're a traitor to this country.
Stop your coalition, Jagmeet!
Fundamentally believe if you don't change things, you're going to have the same system. And the same system is going to benefit those that were already in power. So you have to fundamentally do things to change it, and that's what Equal Voice is about. Saying we got to change the way things are if we want different results. If you want different outcomes, you can't just hope they're going to happen. You got to make them happen. And that's with policies, that's by putting in place real clear strategies. And so I want to thank you for the work you do.
Elizabeth May, like, glug, glug, what a mess.
As the only woman leader of a federal political party, and I have to say it makes me very worried that I've been able to say that since 2006, I'm the only woman leader of a federal political party. And that's not an accident. I so appreciate the fact that in the Green Party, you look around the world, there are 80 Green Parties around the world. And tonight when we celebrate African women leadership with President, oh my God, I'm so honored to be on the same stage.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. Hey gang, so what do you think? Is that video off the rails or on course? We just won an election, 70% of Canadians say they do. We'll have to wait and see what happens, I guess. Like, that's what we get. Anyhow, my name's Aaron. This is Question Period Canada. We have a million questions, almost no answers, but we are showing the information to Canadians that I think, as a viewer, I would want to see as a Canadian. Like, I don't really have a side. I care about Canadians, though, and last couple years have been pretty rocky. Till the next video, thank you for watching this one. It's great. Thank you. We're learning, trying to learn all about Canadian federal politics. Come and join us. My name's Aaron. Like, subscribe, share, get notified, all those fun things. Check out one of the other videos. We have a blast here. Anyhow, till the next video, catch you later. Out. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. Oh.